So everybody is continuing to talk about this Mortal Kombat collection, Legacy collection at that, and why the hype of this is very real. But we also got Mortal Kombat 2 dropping this October, 2 days before my mama's birthday, which is crazy. And not only that, man, but I feel like this legacy will always continue on a strong note because of what this game has to offer. But I have a gut feeling that the 3D era might end up being added into the collection. Once you updated the game, you plug it into your PS5, you will know that they're gonna probably be added, but I don't know if, because honestly, I don't know if they're gonna probably add more games on it for free, or you probably just gonna have to add it. Basically, you have to buy it, because there's no way I'm gonna be like just buying games when, you know, they add more games to the title and then you gotta pay and spend money on it. Like, that's not gonna happen. I'd rather just be adding to the collection when they pretty much add more games into the collection, instead of just like waiting another year for another update when you have to add another game to the title, when you basically have to spend that much money on it, which is a no for me. Hopefully that's not the case with Digital Eclipse. So yeah, shout out to y'all anyways. Let's get to it. 33 years ago, the release of the original Mortal Kombat changed video games forever. Its depiction of graphic violence led to the creation of the rating system that is still used in 2025. Its use of digitized and realistic sprites was revolutionary, and it expanded the horizon of what a fighting game could be. While 2011's Mortal Kombat Arcade Collection was an attempt at bundling together a collection of classic titles, it wasn't greatly received and it remains stuck in the PS3 and 360 era. However, the upcoming Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection seems to be the package of your dreams if you want to relive the games that made the franchise a household name it is. At EVO 2025 in Las Vegas, the gamer sat down with Digital Eclipse content editor Dan Amrich to dive deeper into what made or what to expect from this new bundle. Now, I'm hoping and praying that there's some more information about the 3D era games, including one of my all-time favorite beat 'em ups, Shaolin Monks, might be added into the games. I don't know, but I hope that we might get some answers to that. If not, then we might end up being stuck with the final game being added to it, because we already got the arcade version of Mortal Kombat 4, but I have a gut feeling that the PS version might end up being the final version, the PS1 and the PC. That's basically what I heard all day yesterday. Feature Boy Who was talking about it, Dynasty was talking about it, so I think it might be the final version so far. The part where it says it was bound to happen, that was what Dynasty was talking about yesterday on YouTube, because I think it was a reference to someone who has been leaking stuff all the time. So that's basically what I saw. In the 1990s, Amrich was a games journalist working for a different magazines such as GamePro. In 1995, fresh off the launch of Mk4, he interviewed the creators Ed Boon and John Tobias for an article. When it was announced that Midway was working on a fourth entry, he pitched them an idea for a book about the history of Mortal Kombat. Amrich got a positive reply, but panicked and never followed up. 30 years later, Amrich finally closed the loop, now working on Digital Eclipse. He not only got the chance to work on a collection that will feature more than 20 titles from Mortal Kombat's arcade era, but he also got to participate in a documentary that will be included in the collection, which is something that I'm mostly excited about. And we will do a reaction on YouTube when they upload the documentary on our platform sometime in December. I literally brought stuff out of my personal collection and put it in the game, he explains. I have some behind the scenes photos of Curry Hawkins from Mortal Kombat 3 that I don't think have been seen in 30 years. But they were sent to me as a PR asset. I have the Mortal Kombat 3 flyer. These behind the scenes photos and these John Tobias sketches, I scanned them all in. Oh, okay, so I think that's the one thing I'm trying to figure out about Kerry Hoskins. Shout out to her. Now, she's been in multiple cities, multiple tours, playing the game with the fans. And there was just one clip on Twitter that I meant to show y'all, but I didn't have time to download it, so I'll probably upload it in my YouTube shorts, telling you all about how I feel about this moment. So, one of the players did a fatality on her playing Sonya Blade. I think it was her playing Sonya Blade, or she was playing a different character. I'm not sure, but it was good to see that she's actually interacting with the fans while cosplaying as her character that she played in Mortal Kombat 3. So that was always nice to see. I asked Amrich about his opinion on remakes and remasters, about how some releases of the classic titles end up changing what made those games great in the first place. He assures me that Digital Eclipse is working hard on restoring the games as they were, with the chances to give you a few options, such as, I think he's talking about the PC version with the computer and stuff, like CRT and resolution fillers, if you want a more modern experience. That pretty much sounds like the PC version, if you ask me, because if Mortal Kombat 4 PlayStation and PC versions are the final, it's the final game of the collection, then I guess some people are going to have to wait a few years for the 3D era games to be added, unless Digital Eclipse announces like more 3D era games being added into the collection. We want you to walk into a museum and see this is exactly what it was, explains Amrich. We understand that times have changed in the last 30 years. This probably more fun if you turn on these options, but that's up to you. We don't change what it was originally. We just enhance what it is now if you want. Okay, you know what? I kind of like that response, because with things the way they are now, in terms of like re-releasing classic TV shows and movies with enhanced HD graphics, and with the way things are now, they're just like enhancing the qualities, 4K, 8K, like the Ninja Turtles 35th anniversary collection with all 3 movies, 4K, different surround sounds, new sound effects being added to it. That kind of reminds me of the Bruce Lee collection, and I still have it in my room because they added new sound effects and new soundtracks from the Big Boss, Fist of Fury, and Return of the Dragon. Like, those sound effects don't really sound right. I prefer the original sound effects that were being added to it. But that's kind of like where I'm getting at with the Legacy Collection when you play these original Mortal Kombat titles, because I have a feeling that they're gonna probably like add some new sound effects, or probably just like make enhanced versions of it. I don't know. We will always try to improve the original, but there are options. We need to leave the original in there so that you can see. People didn't care about this problem back then because it was so much fun. And honestly, this one talks about the Genesis and Super Nintendo version, as well as Mortal Kombat Trilogy. So I played Mortal Kombat Trilogy back in the day when I almost beat the game, and I think I remember the movesets. I just don't know how to like run and do the combos because now, a few years later, back in 2012, when I started playing, I think, no, actually it was like 2011 or 2010 when I got the games from the thrift store, and I played Mortal Kombat Trilogy when I was playing with Noob Saibot, and I did pretty well. I did okay, but at the same time, I didn't know how to use the combos and the special moves all together. So unless I practice on my PS5, then I would, because Noob Saibot is pretty much an underrated character, if not one of the most hidden gems of Mortal Kombat in history. But seeing how they're going to be added into the collection, I'm going to probably get my behind whooped, because I'm not that good at fighting games at all. But I just get better over time once I practice it, maybe like for 30 minutes or so, depending on my mood. When asked about which games will be included, he tells me that not all the titles have been revealed yet. Oh boy. But there are a lot of surprises that fans will look forward to. For example, the Game Gear and Game Boy versions of the first Mortal Kombat, or the 32X and Game Boy releases of Mk4. At the stand at EVO, I got a chance to try the PS version of Mortal Kombat Trilogy, which has been restored for the first time, and there are videos, multiple videos talking about this. I did a reaction to Feasible Who's video on it, and you can tell Digital Eclipse has improved and enhanced on MK Trilogy, the PlayStation version, a lot, especially when it comes to loading times and when Shang Tsung morphs. You know what? Speaking of Shang Tsung, in Mortal Kombat Trilogy, when he morphs, the game pauses for a few seconds. But none of that happened in Digital Eclipse's version of MK Trilogy, which I'm so glad they did that. But mind you, MK Trilogy is still one of the scariest games in my opinion, just because of the music and the graphics alone. We knew that Trilogy was really important to people. It's the game that a lot of people spent the most time with. If you played Mortal Kombat 3 or even Ultimate MK3, you spent most of your time with Trilogy because you had the luxury of having it at home, right? You will put in hundreds of hours rather than spending money in the arcades. That is kind of true though, because I'm not playing video games right now. I'm just too busy trying to grow my platform and everything. But maybe one day when I practice the combos, then I'll probably get better over time. Because I remember back when I got the Kawabunga collection, playing one of my favorite versions, the Hyperstone Heights, I got better with dashing and beating the foot soldiers up because I watched YouTube videos of how to do it. I was like, okay, I got it now. Especially if you try to do like a speed run on a beat 'em up. Yeah, that one took me a few minutes and seconds to get better at it because I just knew what to do with it. But when it comes to fighting games, however, you gotta like know how to work the combos, excuse me. Like I remember, I think last year when I played Marvel vs. Capcom 2 after all these years, I forgot how to do the up kick while doing the air combo and the full combo and stuff like that. I think I need to practice all of that at home. What am I talking about? I think I need to practice more all of that sometime in the future, because I feel like I'm not only wasting time, but I'm missing out on so much games that I have not tried yet, like the Punisher. So yeah, this part absolutely makes sense. You know, I know I would hate to like spend money in the arcades, 25 cents for a rematch or whatever though, where I have the game at home where I can practice my combos, which is a plus. The thing with Trilogy is that a lot of super fans don't prefer the PlayStation version because it had a lot of bugs in it, particularly a lot of loading bugs. That's the nature of hardware in '95, where when we wanted the code, we found that some of that loading time was actually baked into the code, and that it was stuff. I mean, that it was stuff that we could remove. Okay, this grammar is a bit off in my opinion. So you're not going to see any extra long loading times. The loading times, you remember, will not be there, and I'm glad they did that. I'm so glad they pretty much fixed all of that before they released it. Like, it's all about making sure your product is done. So I'm glad that they're actually pretty much taking their time with this title, because Mortal Kombat Trilogy, even though it is one of the most important games in fighting games history, because I barely see people play those games today because they're so good at it, they're better than I am. So if I do play this game, I'll probably play it like normally, unless I learn the combos, then yeah. But for right now, I'd rather just stay low and just sit back and watch before I touch the game myself. Amrich also tells me that it's the first time Digital Eclipse is emulating PlayStation, which was a real technical challenge for them. It was necessary because the collection will also feature the PlayStation and arcade versions of Mortal Kombat 4 and the first 3D entry in the series. So it's pretty much confirmed that Mortal Kombat 4, the arcade version, is going to be the final game being added into the collection. That's based on what I've hearing so far from multiple parties and stuff. I mean, when you think about it, it kind of makes sense though, because Mortal Kombat 4, even though it's not really that good, but I've beaten it multiple times playing Liu Kang, looking back at it now. So, and honestly, I really feel like, to me, that having that in the collection is pretty much a win-win for everybody. When I ask him why the team is tackling so many versions of the classic games, he points to the deep emotional bonds that players have with the specific versions they grew up playing. As soon as we announced this collection, people were like, you need to have this version, and then they brought up their favorite game. Sometimes they're naming games that were like, gosh, we'd like to be able to do that, but we just can't. We're trying to create an archive that will last, and we're trying to give gamers a chance to play what they never got to play and appreciate this franchise on a different level. And for one thing, Digital Eclipse, or like the new Capcom or whatever gaming company that does these collections and stuff like that, where you ain't gotta worry about downloading and or emulating games that you never played before. And yeah, this is really interesting. One of the most exciting aspects of collections like this is the ability to play these titles online. This was something already available in the previous arcade collection, but the netcode and matchmaking systems have improved a lot over the years in the genre, and Digital Eclipse is fully aware of that. So I know the last time I watched Dynasty videos on it about how he was not being able to play games online with other people, and he kind of got triggered and crashed down on it, and it was just hearing him rant on it. Like, I don't think I've seen him rant on things, because it seems like when he rants on it, he smiles a lot, but he knows not to go crazy. It's kind of like holding your inner peace while controlling your emotions without crashing out physically and emotionally when you're not able to play online. But it seems like Digital Eclipse hears and understands the fans' issues, and they'll get on it real quick. Amrich tells me that all the games with online modes will have rollback netcode, and they are happy with the results they had from closed betas around the country. However, he explains that the online system will be functional, but it might not work as well as it does for other current titles. We're not really positioning this yet. If you're a hardcore competitive gamer, you're going to want to be here, but we are making it so that it's predictable, so that it's smooth. We're actually testing online right now at the studio, and I'm glad that they're doing this, because all it takes for them to actually just make sure that the online is smooth and it doesn't cause people to crash out and go crazy when things are not going their way, when they want to finish their opponent, especially when it comes to the fatalities. Now, it'll be funny if they hosted a fighting game tournament playing the Game Gear version of Mortal Kombat 2, because we all know sometimes certain Game Gear games are hit and miss. It depends on how you play with it. You know what I'm saying? He also asked that while crossplay is being considered, there is no guarantee that it will be available in the future, and the collection will definitely launch without it. Mortal Kombat Legacy Collection doesn't have a firm release date yet, but it's expected to come out in 2025. There will be exclusive physical editions for PlayStation 5, Nintendo Switch, and Switch 2, and the game will also release digitally for PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Xbox Series S and X. The one thing that Digital Eclipse is so good at is giving the fans what they want. You ask, they'll give it to you. And I think my next video that I'm going to be making should have you thinking and wondering, can Digital Eclipse do the same thing with another franchise that I'm not gonna tell you yet, but you already know what I'm talking about. So yeah, shout out to Digital Eclipse. They know exactly what they're doing. Give them time to cook, and when the product gets released to the public, everybody will be going crazy and talking about it online, because we know that this collection is one of the most positive things that everybody is talking about so far, and I can only admire that. So Dan Amrich, shout out to everybody at Digital Eclipse that hooked the fans up. So links to the article will be in the description.